Welcome to the Porn Stars Are People podcast. I'm here with Jay Crew. Thank you for doing the show.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. You're a multifaceted individual because you're hitting on multiple parts of this industry.
True.
You've been a performer. You've been a cameraman.
Well, truth be told, I was a cameraman before I turned pornographer.
This is every
porn
cameraman's
star,
dream. Is that he's just in the room doing the thing, and then they're like, "Hey, we need a pinch hitter."
Stunt is what it was.
Stunt cock.
That's what it was referred to back in the day. I've been in it. This is my 35th year.
Okay, wow.
In the business.
Yeah.
And I came in as one of very few true trained technical camera people.
Yeah.
I was in the military as a cameraman.
Very cool.
And just happened to show up on a set, delivering equipment, door opened, naked women.
Yeah.
And that's really all it is.
Yeah.
That's how everything starts. You know? So, and been in it since.
Yeah.
And it was probably 2 months into it, I was asked, since we're having some wood problem.
Yeah.
Could you help us out?
Would you be? I love all the little nuance of what just happened.
Yeah.
There was some wood problem.
And it was, okay, we can belabor this, wait for this guy to be able to do something, or somebody just has to man up.
Let's get somebody in here.
Take care of business.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
That's hilarious. That's incredible. And that is the most humble brag I've ever witnessed.
And as soon as it was done, it was, okay, put the other hat back on. Let's finish the day.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
Just,
yeah,
you know, but I'm finishing the day with a little bit more of a smile on my face.
right. A little some behind the camera reassurance and knowledge of what just happened. That's great. That's fantastic. So cool. So okay. So then what do you do when you have? So you're in many levels of the industry. So what do you do when you're just out of this? Like what do you do to relax? What do you do to chill?
Once you're in, you're in. You
Yeah.
can't get out. And those who who have tried to get out, they get sucked back in.
Sucked. Every time I'm on my way out, they suck me back in.
Yeah.
No, but how did you, I mean, are all your relationships, friendships, and everything all part of the business? Like, do you get a?
No. I've been with the same woman now for 28 years.
Interesting.
And, have the whole out of the industry life.
Yeah.
And basically, so when somebody calls rap, I'm out of the industry.
Yeah.
I go home and be me.
Yeah. Now you have a lot of gray-haired knowledge. It seems there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of things I can ask you that you have. So I've been asking people, and without a clear answer, because I've had my own troubles in the last couple years with trying to define what monogamy is, what the permanence of it is, and how to figure out how to handle jealousy. How do you handle jealousy? What do you think? Is it just some people are jealous and some people aren't? Is there a way to mitigate jealousy? How does that work?
You are either jealous or not jealous.
And that's just what it is.
It seems to be, because in the relationships I've had, this is my third marriage. The first two
didn't take.
No, it was okay. Men by nature, we like to look.
Yeah.
I mean, something walks by.
Yeah.
We have the tendency to follow.
Yeah.
Because we are very
and we've all been in a situation where we're like, I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna look.
I'm not gonna look.
And you have
to look.
You have
and then
to.
you get reprimanded for it.
Yeah.
Why are you looking?
Why would
the
you
whole
look?
thing goes off.
Yeah.
What about her? And you like bloods. But once you found somebody who doesn't care.
Yeah.
Who's secure to allow you to be you.
Yeah.
That was eye-opening.
Yeah.
And I, at the time, I would stop from looking, and then I would get reprimanded for not looking.
For not looking. Oh, that's nice.
I would look at her. Why didn't you look at her?
Yeah.
That type of a deal.
Yeah.
So that made being in this industry so easy for me.
Yeah. Well, very cool. But you were already in, so I mean, you had to gravitate towards somebody who would accept it either way. So that's an interesting That's great. Yeah. So
Yeah, it was
so you can't talk somebody out of jealousy. Is the moral of this?
correct.
If you're jealous, you're jealous. This is what it is.
And,
That is. Go
and
ahead.
basically, she said, "Look, I don't care what you do. All I want to know is that you are going to come home
To me.
to me."
Yeah, I used to think for a long time. I thought jealousy. I mean, this was just because I was in my 20s, and it's the only thing I knew about life was being young, and I thought jealousy was just like a young, and foolish kind of endeavor, and it's just something that had to do with maturity, and eventually would go away. But I kept bumping into this situation where I would be with jealous girls, and I'd find their mother would be jealous, and then what really made it clear to me was when my grandfather was dating a woman who was 75 years old, and she was jealous of my grandmother who had died, and she was jealous of her just being present in the home.
Mm-hmm.
And would take pictures down and all these things, and that put it in perspective for me that I was like I'm dating that same girl, the girl that I'm dating who's 24
just can't look
is
up.
that same lady as a 75-year-old, and that's going to be who she is forever,
Right.
and that's a weird thing. So jealousy can't be rubbed away. Although I think I've gotten less jealous as I got older.
I can imagine you can get less jealous when you become more comfortable with yourself and the person that you're with.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see a brand new relationship where you don't really know where you are in it, in that pecking order. You can, like, for example, with the woman I'm with right now, she knew of this individual who worked a big show in Vegas, and kind of a well-known person, and he's European and all like that. Well, I felt a little intimidated. I'm vertically challenged in some ways, and I make up for that once you get in bed, and then everybody's. But I mean, knowing that this individual was closer to a Greek god than I would ever be,
Sure.
it was okay. Hey, but she gave me the opportunity to have that door open. I should reciprocate the same way.
Yeah.
Took a little bit to do that, knowing what I knew.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing when you don't know anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, hey, it's somebody I met. Okay, but when you've seen and you're sitting there going, okay,
Right.
this is a learning experience. We
Right,
got to do
right,
it.
right.
So you can be learned.
Yeah.
And then, again,
So and then sometimes I think this is the thing that I'm finding is the less information the better a lot of times, because having too much visual, just any of the knowledge, emotional knowledge that's where. But we're all kind of we have this fear of being abandoned. But I think at the end of the day we all have to understand how valuable we are as people, and I think that's the first step to the jealousy game. Is like, look. And this happens a lot in cheating. Like, it's like, look, I can't stop somebody from cheating on me. Like, you can't stop somebody in a relationship from cheating on you. The only thing you can hope is that you have enough of a communication base in your relationship where that won't happen. But it's probably going to happen, and that's not a reflection on you.
no.
That's a reflection on them and whatever's going on in their world and whatever inadequacies that they're dealing with. And then once you kind of try to accept that, then I think you start to control people less, and you start worrying less about those sorts of things. It's like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And
Correct. And part of that is an understanding between the two of you. If they know who you are,
Yeah.
and you understand who they are, they can then learn to understand why you do things.
yeah,
One of the things
yes.
that we found that helped us out, she was the wise one of the two of us. I say she's the better half of us. I'm the lesser half. Is that having this viewpoint of leave the door open.
yeah,
If you want to go, go.
yeah,
Just know you come back. Helped, and then sharing experiences. Hey, what do you think about swinging and all like that? And we found one we wanted to try it. We went out there and we found that nothing interests us, and that was one of the guidelines of nothing interests, and we'll just
don't
play.
force it.
Don't force it.
Yeah,
And just found that just being open that way, and then once it did happen where we saw each other with other people and stuff like that, it was just an act.
Yeah.
It was just a physical act. It was not an emotional act.
Right.
And the problem with cheating is cheating starts off physical.
Yep.
And because of the situation that they're in, I believe that it turns into emotional.
Because of the lies and because of the now the trust is crossed in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then so in any situation where I've cheated and I've foolishly done it in my 20s and what happens is then I start to do this thing where I'm like, well, now I'm lying, so I can't even have a future with this person because they don't even know who I am.
Correct.
And so the time that I have tried to be in open relationships, it was all about for me this idea that like I need this person to understand the reasons why I fuck people, the things that I'm attracted to, and kind of what's going on in my head, what circumstances would need to happen for me to end up in this situation, so they can better understand me. Because having a partner not know, like, because your partner only knows when you're in a monogamous thing, they only know like kind of vaguely what happened about you guys getting together. You don't know, like I have no idea a lot of times why somebody slept with me. I don't. You don't get that background information. You don't know the type of person they sleep with.
Right.
Sometimes until it's it's too late or because or you're afraid to talk about their past. So having that information, it's a lot of who we are as people.
Right.
So knowing that person, you have to kind of know that a little bit about them, which is an interesting thing because I think a lot of us are just afraid to just kind of pull the blindfold on that.
Yeah. I mean, we're just, okay, I don't want to know anything
Yeah.
more. Let's just hit it and let's see that, oh, God, they don't have anything.
Right.
And that, should I show them my test? Should I even let them know something about, no,
Yeah.
let's just do it. Let's just do it.
Right.
Get out of it. Oh, that was a good time. Now the worry starts. Where
Yeah.
have you been? Backtracking.
Right.
Storytelling.
What kind of and it's just like, there really is an understanding of a person when you start to realize what type of people they fuck, and for better or for worse, it's a part of it's a part of us, just like it's what we choose to, how we choose to eat and how we choose to structure our lives. Those things can be in absolute conflict, and the type of person that you're with, you have to figure out some of that stuff, and it's not, it's really not an easy thing. So that's interesting. You've, you're at that place.
Yeah.
I have to figure that part of life out a little bit. And figure out what the problem for me is, what's the permanence of monogamy? Now, you've been in 3 marriages. Do you think there is the capability to be with somebody for forever and make it work? Or do you think that we as people, because we evolve so much, maybe just get to a point where we have to let that person go and go on our path in every aspect of life?
It is very difficult to be with one person for an extended period of time. And I understand how things were in the past, the pressures, whether it's family related, religious, and all like that, can't just stay there for the kids, because I've been part of that family where
what do you think of that? Is that better or worse?
Miserable. Get away
just
from
go
each
away.
other.
We'll be better off in
We'll
knowing you
be
as individuals.
happier.
Yeah. So,
but then there's the lucky ones where, wow, they're still together.
So what
and
is
you
that?
can see how, however they make it work, it does.
Is it luck? Is it commitment? Like, and not the word commitment like we use it in Russia, but like commitment to actually working hard and communicating through whatever's going on. Like, what do you think the secret is? Because people can stay together and be miserable. Like, that's a thing. Like, that's a choice.
No, that is a choice. And some people, you're looking at.
Dad just moves into the den. That's all that happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know, and I think it has to be a combination of a lot of things. The trust between the two of you. Are you friends or not? And how does that relationship evolve over time?
Yeah. Because you're both changing.
You're both changing
every day.
And I think where you start losing that communication, then you start losing the connection between the two of you, and then separation is inevitable.
Yeah.
And there you go. Today, she's still the smartest woman I know. She's still the wittiest woman I know. She still makes me laugh.
And you're married?
Every day. Yeah.
This is your 3rd marriage? Shout out to your wife.
It's all about you, honey.
So,
come what may.
Did you find that you made some of the same mistakes in marriage 1 and 2,
Oh yeah.
and that's how you ended up in this spot. And then
Yep.
what did it take to stop making those mistakes?
Again, it was finding the same two type of women previously who basically had the same views on life.
Yeah.
It was just, we're together, we're married, and this is it.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Don't look. Okay.
And that alone. Yeah.
Just knowing my first wife, and each one of them, we stepped outside the relationship
Yep.
together to see how it was.
Yeah.
Both of them liked the fact that it was all about her
Yeah.
and no way in hell is there ever going to be another woman in part of this experiment. It's
Right.
only going to be about me.
Yeah.
Door lock. Now, second wife, it was even worse. It was more locks and everything like that on the door. No, we can only go my way. We can't go your way.
Yeah.
I mean, she was crazy. But the third, nothing was like that.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, you don't care. No. You're all right. Yeah, I'm fine. The door's open. Yes, the
Yeah.
door's open. I don't have to go out that door.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out
That's
that
and
door.
I think that's actually the inevitability of the communication and the openness is that you just rather stay home.
I like where I'm at. I like
Right.
who I'm with.
Right.
I'm entertained.
And once you open the door, it's like giving a child wine. They're not gonna want to go run around and because there's nothing inherently like naughty about it. There's nothing
if
forbidden
everybody keeps
about
telling
it.
you no, you're going to find out why is everybody saying
Yeah,
no.
wow, let's go find out. Why is
Yeah.
this? Yeah, and so if you come back and you're like, yeah, we hooked up, it was whatever. Like you may as well just be with the person who knows how to, how to make you come the fastest and the best and the hardest.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's actually that it puts a big smile on my face. That's where I'm trying to get to in my life. I want to get to that level of balance with a person where that's the thing where even if something does come up, it would almost be better to just get on the phone and I'd rather talk to them than go find this new exciting experience is only exciting when it's when there's like this I don't know a lot of hooking up with people is this acceptance game, and it's like I'm so cool and I'm so sexy and I'm so whatever because it's a new person that wants you, and but that's like a novelty that wears off because that's not gonna. A lot of times there's not for them. I mean, generally speaking, if you're with like whoever you're with, whether it's like a temporary thing or whatever, like it's not gonna work out because generally relationships don't work out. So across the board, it's not gonna work out. So you
the
get your
odds
little,
are against you,
right?
For it to work.
Yeah. Well, and so I'm talking, in your 20s, even in hooking up with people, like that's not most likely going to be your forever wife or husband.
Correct.
So the value, starts to get cheapened over time. That it's just like, what's the point? So in your third marriage, do you think that this could be forever?
I don't think. I know.
Okay. Very cool.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
I'm
not demeaning that at all.
I know it.
Yeah.
Even when we hit some rough patches.
Yeah.
And you're going, we'll still work through it.
Yeah.
You're still going to be the one.
That's fantastic. So, what happens on her? What does she do? How does she, what's her life? She said she's not in this industry.
She was in a part of the industry which was she danced.
Okay.
So she was a dancer for 15 years.
Yeah.
She was in the industry behind the camera, and that's where we first met. And back to the same story here. I looked at this person coming onto a set, couldn't take my eyes off of her. Went to the director and said, whatever you do, you got to hire her on the next show.
Yeah.
By the fourth show that we were on, she kind of figured something out.
Right.
She walked up and she busted me. She goes, do you have anything to do with me only being on this set?
Right.
And I go, yes. And that's how it started. Right
That's
there.
great. That's a great story. Do you think that there's a mentality of people that gravitate towards this industry or that end up in this industry do you think there's something there that is very different than, I don't know. We like to call people civilians. The civilians walking around. What do you think it is? What's the
Back in the golden age when I came in, the type of people that were on the sets, both in front of the camera and behind the camera, seemed to be far different than they are today.
Sure.
You would walk onto a set as a newcomer like I was, and the people there were, not saying they're not friendly now, but they were friendly in a different way.
Yeah.
And it was like they're looking at you going, are you my next? And it was like, no, I'm just going to be the cameraman. I mean, it was just, they had this energy about them. They were very sexual.
Yeah.
And they were just wanting to be there because they knew they were there to have sex.
Yeah. Interesting.
And I always said, and then the perk was you got paid.
Yeah.
And back in the 80s, you got paid in multiple ways.
Yeah.
It's either large sum of cash, check, your drug of choice, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was just the fact that you had fun.
Yeah. That was my first real moment in comedy when I realized that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Is the first time I got paid to do comedy. I can't remember how much I got paid. It wasn't a lot of money, but I was like, what? I was like, this is so much. I would do this for free. In fact, I'm doing this for free every other night. So the fact that you're paying me for this is way too much. And then that's how I think that you found the thing that you should be doing is when you would totally do this for free, and everything that they give you as money feels like robbery.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fantastic.
And in the 80s, you had a lot of people who were actors, actresses, who just didn't have a way to express themselves. They weren't getting the California gigs, coming to California, be a movie star.
Yeah.
So they needed an outlet. And then they found they were able to express themselves here.
Now, you were still in a period of time when you joined the industry then where censorship was still happening everywhere around you. I mean, you're not that far off from... How old are you?
Yeah, okay. I only ask girls this. I'll ask you, because my birthday's in 1 week.
Okay.
How old do you think?
How old do you think I am? I don't... Okay, so I'm trying to piece it together. So let's... I would say that you were born in the mid-'60s.
Thank you. No, 57. Okay. I turned 60 next week.
Okay, very cool. Well, you look great. I'm just trying to place it from the standpoint of, like, I understand a lot of the world through comedy. So I understand what was going on in the 60s with censorship and Lenny Bruce and all these things. And, and the world is going crazy. You're in L.A. where, the L.A. riots through that whole period of time while you were in this business. So there's a lot going on. But I just wonder, because we're in a weird place. Like all the people that I loved and aspired to as a child, we're finding out now we're all repressed people that were doing, like, Bill Cosby's one of the reasons I joined this business. I would watch his special, I memorized it, watch with my family, and it's an interesting thing. Pee Wee Herman did a thing. He was a child. He was in charge of a child show, and they caught him in an X-rated movie theater, jerking off, and that thing that happened to him, which is he lost his show because he was jerking off a movie theater. If I got caught jerking off in a movie theater in 2017, they would give me a show. Like, that's how much has changed in 25 years, 35 years. Do you feel that on a daily basis? Like, what was it like to be in sort of a taboo business then versus now?
Then it was, everything we did was kind of like on the down low.
Yeah.
We're all on the run.
Yeah.
It's guerrilla shooting. It was, we would meet at a restaurant, and then only then would we be given instructions on where we were going to go.
Okay.
And then we'd all drive, however far, whether it was driving from L.A. going to San Francisco to shoot.
Wow.
Or we would go down to Orange County and shoot down there. Funny story with that is during that particular time, Ron Jeremy, you might have heard of him.
Yeah. He seems to be popular.
Seems to be. Even back then, he was the director, and love Ronnie to death. But he would, with all this, underground guerrilla type of stuff he would be the one out in the middle of the intersection, stopping traffic to get all the cars to go
Hilarious.
at the same time.
Yeah.
And Ron, everybody knows who you are. You're telling everybody what we're doing.
Right.
But that was him being the director,
Yeah.
thinking this is what
Gotta
he had
get
to
shit
do.
done.
Got to get shit done.
And that's, I mean, that speaks to his ability, and the reason why I've heard of him is the fact that he would do that. Like those are the guys that just they don't wait around for something. They get the thing done because it's got to be done, and the, you're not worried about the hierarchy. Just get the fucking thing done.
So there was something about the excitement of doing something, and there was the possibility of getting caught.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that.
And so
little
what were the actual tangible consequences if you got caught filming?
typically, and what was funny is during that time when Vice would come knocking.
Yeah.
There were several times I would be shooting in the backyard, and again, dating myself here, is I'm there shooting a scene that's going on, and then all of a sudden I see this hand go over a fence, and then you hear the sound of a Polaroid.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's always my face going like this, because I can see them.
Yeah.
They're shooting the back of it, so I could just imagine all these Polaroids up on some billboard in some office someplace going
with the strings.
Yeah,
And
lining everything up.
the porn family.
But all they
The
did
porn
was
crime syndicate.
all they did was it was just scare tactics.
Yeah.
And then the first one they went after, they went to the girls. They
Yeah.
were trying to get the girls to say, "Who's paying you?"
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
type of a deal.
Interesting.
But they would check IDs, and hey, I have nothing to hide. I don't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
My one vice is I can't get away from girls.
Yeah.
And that I got a clean record.
Yeah.
Except for the 2 marriages. But it's, so I never ran from anything.
Yeah.
But you see some of the other crew members,
They bolt?
They bolt.
Wow.
They're hiding
Oh, that's
underneath
hilarious.
beds and trash cans. The
Yeah.
whole bit. It was funny.
Yeah, that's that's hilarious.
But basically, they would just
Now,
it would stop shooting.
What were they fighting? They were fighting just our country's understanding of obscenity at the time. Is it because this was always a big problem, right?
It was trafficking, because there would be crossing state lines, RICO.
Okay.
Just
Because
pandering.
that's the thing that's the most. I don't want to use the word tangible again, but that's the thing that holds the strongest in court.
Correct.
So they're trying to get you on whatever the hardest case that they can get you on.
Correct.
So okay.
So that's what they get you for. But basically, what all happened, when somebody was given up, and there was layers there. So the director isn't the end all, but he is on the set.
Yeah.
But you don't know where his money was coming from or the people that you're shooting for. A lot
Okay.
of it was, unless you happen to be a contract player,
Yeah.
then you knew it was for companies like Cinderella or Odyssey. Or
Was there some dirty money in the game?
from what we were told, yes.
Okay, interesting.
And how much is it different now?
Yeah, interesting.
Probably isn't different now.
Interesting. Very cool. Okay, very cool. That's so. Yeah. So you're a looking glass. Is it because a lot of the reason why things happen now can be traced back, and then you can kind of like people that have been in any industry for a long time. Once new trends start to happen, they can almost predict the thing because they were sort of at the origins of these businesses. Comedy and porn are not. I mean, porn's been around kind of forever. Comedy, but as a business, it's been a whole different ball game. Almost in the same kind of time span. I want to say, I guess comedy's a little newer, but I mean, if we take it back to vaudeville and whatnot,
Right.
then, and that's almost where I think we intersected as industries.
Oh, yeah.
Because vaudeville, being naked and being funny was always hand in
Vaudeville,
hand.
Burlesque.
Yeah, right there,
Share the same stage.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just and it's funny because I don't think of these things together, but because I had a show where it was magicians and burlesque and comedians in Vegas, and in my head I was like, you couldn't cram three dissimilar things, and then you realize that those are all. I mean, the comedy club that I started was a comedy magic club, and so all of these things are just kind of chunked together and always have been. Was always been my interest in doing this podcast. Was I really do think that there's so. I mean, we're walking a path, and we're on two different highways, but we can see each other, and it's an interesting little dichotomy. But we do, and there's something human about all of this because there really is a main connector, and a lot of people when they start comedy they go blue and they go, don't do dirty, try to be clean, but there's a main connecting factor in talking about sex, and people are obsessed with it, and people need to know, and people need to hear that the things that you do are the things that they do, so that they don't feel weird. We all just want to not feel weird,
Right.
when we pull our parts out and do stuff.
Exactly.
So what else? So how do you unwind? How do you relax? What do you what is your little what's your cheat in life? Like, have you figured out patterns and habits and things? What things work for you?
Oh. I'm just really kind of a basic family type of guy.
Yeah.
It's all me about my family,
Yeah.
and just making sure their day's going great and all like that. When I do get some time to relax, I'm an avid football fan.
Okay.
So, the rare opportunities, which is only driving to work and driving back from work,
Yeah.
where I get to listen to my football.
Sure.
Because when I'm at home, oh, Dad, do you have to? Oh,
Right.
honey, turn that shit off. And, if it's not, it isn't football season, is it? No, it's not, but it's... So
You
there's
get voted out.
yeah. So my happy place is sitting in the 405 traffic during rush hour.
Hilarious.
I could sit there. Oh, honey, it's going to take me three and a half hours to get home. Okay, just pick up some milk on the way home.
Yeah.
There I'm in my little heaven.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, there it is. The upside of LA traffic is getting those minutes to yourself. I see. This is the thing that I find. I was living in New York, been in New York for 12 years, so I didn't have a car for the first 10, 11. And I grew up in a place where it was all car, everything. So I realized this you don't get these little slivers in New York without having a car like you do when you have a car anywhere else in the country. You can be a crazy person in a car, and it's normal because you're in the car. Like because you always see people in the street walking in New York and they're talking to themselves, and you're like, stay away from that fucking guy. But then I look around in traffic, everybody's talking to themselves. It's like for a second you look if they're on the phone, and there's too much going on. This guy's talking to himself. He's running through his day.
I would say that was the case more so where you're looking, do they got something in their ear
Right.
or what? Now all the cars it's all hooked up into it. So now they're just flailing and yelling and screaming, and they're on the phone.
Yeah.
Because I know that for a fact. Because my wife, no, she is crazy. No, both. She does both. I mean, she's.
But we all talk to ourselves. We do. We'll replay an argument we just had. We'll do the thing. We're talking to ourselves. We get that alone moment, and we pick our nose. We do the things that we can because we're locked in a box, and nobody. I mean, it's filled with glass, but we think nobody can see us, and we get to do our own little moment.
Yeah, that's obvious when people are sitting there picking and doing all sorts of stuff.
I can't stop picking. I'll be honest. I can't stop picking my nose. I'm a nose picker.
There you go.
So thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a vibrating pillow. Yeah. I'm glad that everybody else thought it was weird too, because I was trying to be cool about it. I leaned on it and I was like, okay, vibrating pillow, it's normal. It's a normal thing in life.
I'm on a porn site. Everything should vibrate.
So I appreciate you doing this. J. Crew, I don't know where you're at in the industry, where if you care, like a lot of people come on, they want to plug their things. I don't know if you care if people follow you on the internet. Do you want to plug anything? Do you have anything?
I say those who are a fan of J. Crew, just follow me on Twitter at JCrew57.
Very cool. Okay, thank you for doing this. Appreciate it. It's Porn Stars People Podcast. I'm Dan Frigolette. Check me out. Check out my calendar for live comedy if you enjoy what you hear. Check us out on the web if you're listening for the first time. We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play. You can tell Alexa to play us. We're on Stitcher app and tune in. Thank you for listening. We're going to try to give you as much good content as we can moving forward. Thank you so much for being a fan. Thank you again to J. Crew for being here.